Okay, guys, in video 4, we are going to look at angles some more, but we are going to look at some complex angle diagrams. And I know that many of you had questions about this as we were reviewing for our DCA. So if you have questions as I go along, make sure you pause the video and ask, just to clarify any questions you might have. So in video 3, we talked about vertical angles, we talked about supplementary angles, and we talked about alternate interior. So we want to remember all of those different angles, but we also need to remember that the angles in a triangle will add up to 180 degrees as well. That's an important piece for this, okay? So we're going to look at this very first diagram. So one thing I want you to realize here is that this line and this line are parallel. Notice that if they continue, they will never meet. This line has two transversals. So this line, let's call it T, is a transversal, but so is this line. Let's call it line M. So both of these lines are transversals, okay? That are two different lines. That's going to come in handy today. So it tells us in the problem that angle ABC measures 35 degrees. So if you remember from our naming angles video, angle ABC. So we start with A, B, C. So that angle is 35 degrees. Let's all label it. If I can get closer, guys. Okay, so it also says that angle BAC is 115 degrees. So BAC. So this angle is 115 degrees. So now we need to find 3 different angle measures that are listed. Well, the first thing that I notice is that there is a triangle here, and I know 2 of the angles. So if I need to find the third angle of that triangle, I can add these 2 angles together. So we can take 115 plus 35, and we get 150. And then, because all 3 of them would be 180, let's do 180 minus 150, and that is 30. Now, I'm not going to write anything over here yet. I'm ignoring that. I'm going to write 30 degrees right inside there. So now I have all 3 angles of that triangle. Well, let's go back to alternate interior angles. So remember, alternate interior angles are going to be inside these parallel lines, but on opposite sides of the transversal. So let's focus on, I'm going to cover all this up right now, okay? So let's focus on transversal T. Now, I know that this angle is 115. So if I'm inside the parallel lines, and that's on the right side of the transversal, then this one up here is going to be its alternate interior. Well, they're congruent to each other. So I'm going to write 115 degrees there. Now, if I look at this, I'm going to cover up everything down below, because I notice that this is a straight line. Right here is a straight line. And I know that that means that makes 180 degrees. So if I want to find this missing angle, I can add these 2 together and subtract from 180. Well, up here I already did that once. 115 plus 35 was 150, and then 180 minus 150 was 30. Oh, sorry guys, I'm wrong. We got to do 115 plus 30, not 35. 145. And then we do 180 minus 145, and we get 35 degrees. Put 35. Now, what you also may notice is if I cover up that other transversal, down here, this transversal M creates alternate interiors. So that one and this one should be congruent, and they are both 35 degrees. So now let's figure out which angles we actually have to write in. So measure of angle ACE. So ACE, that's this one. Well, that one we had down as 115 degrees. Then we need the measure of DCB. So DCB. So we want this angle. Well, that one is 35 degrees. And finally, we want the measure of angle ACB. So ACB is this angle, and that one is 30 degrees. Okay? So that's one type of complex diagram. Again, if you have questions at any point, make sure you ask. Don't just tell me you don't get any of it. What part do you get lost? Okay, at what point do you lose me? Okay, let's try this next one. So this one, we have lines AB and ED are parallel. So this line is parallel to this line. And we have two transversals here, okay? And we need to find the measure of the three angles in triangle ABC. Well, I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to ignore that right now. I'm not even going to worry about it, okay? Let's look at what we know. What do we know in this diagram? Well, this makes a straight line. And I know that this angle on the outside of that triangle is 118 degrees. If this makes a straight line and I cover all this up, I know that this one across would be 118 degrees as well. But if this makes a straight line, that's 180. So I can take 180 minus 118. We get 62 degrees. So let's put that right inside there. But that one is 62 degrees. Okay. All right. Well, now I have a triangle. And there are two angles that I know. I just need to find the third angle of that triangle. So I want to add these two together because, like we wrote above, the three angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. So 36 plus 62 is equal to 98. Now, is 98 my answer? No, because I need to take that away from 180. So that's 82 degrees. So let's write that in. Now, here's the beautiful thing. We can get 2 for the price of 1 because this angle has an angle right across from it. Those are vertical angles, so that one's got to be 82 degrees as well. Okay, now let's cover this part up. So let's focus on this transversal. Okay. This angle down here is 36 degrees. It's on the right side of the transversal. So if I travel up that transversal and go to the right side, that's this angle. Those are alternate interior. What do we know about alternate interior angles? They're congruent, right? So if that one's 36, then this one is also 36. Well, cover up that side. Let's follow that transversal up. Oops, how about we go like that, guys? If I cover that part up. So if 62 degrees is on the left side of that transversal, and I travel up that transversal and I hit on the right side, that one is also going to be 62 degrees. Okay. Now, here's one way you could check to see if you got it right. Add these three numbers together. If I take 62 plus 36 plus 82. Add those three numbers together. Do they equal 180? Check my work. They do. So now let's look at what we need to write. So angle CAB. So CAB is this angle, so this one right here, which is 62 degrees. Angle CBA, which is this one, that one's 36 degrees. And angle ACB, which is this one, and that one is 82 degrees. Again, if at any point you got lost, where did you get lost? Tell me what you do get. Do you understand how I found this angle of 62 degrees? If you did, then what was the next thing that you didn't understand? Okay? So, the very last one is just like this one. Similar, but it's not the exact same picture, because I want you to try one that's different. So, again, guys, when you do this, cover up all this. Don't worry about the blanks until you fill the diagram in. And use what you know. You have an angle inside this triangle that's 102, and there's an angle outside over here. This angle is 145. Use those two pieces of information to help get you started. If you need help, let me know. But remember, ask a very direct question. That tells me what you know and what you need help on. Okay? Once you get that done and you would like me to check it, make sure that you check in with me.